Oh boy, I need a sign. Oh yeah, oh yeah. What's going on, guys? Algin Estacio here with FlytPath.com, and of course, as you can tell by the title of this video, let's get into the very first unboxing of the new DJI Mavic 2. In this video, of course, I'm going to do the quick unboxing and show you exactly what comes in the box, but then I'll go into a little bit more detail and show you what some of the differences are between the Mavic Pro and the new Mavic 2. And without further ado, of course, let's open up this box. Oh yeah. Ooh, ooh, ooh. Oh, here it is. Boom. What? Oh my gosh, how cool is this? Here is the box of the DJI Mavic 2 Pro. Now, I'm looking at the box, and of course on the outside, the very first thing that stands out, which is this awesome looking picture. But as you can see in the photo right here, look at that massive sensor. And what's cool about it is it says Hasselblad right on the front of the lens, f2.8 equivalent to 28 millimeters, printed right on the front. So I mean, you want to talk about making a statement as far as camera goes. There you go, a massive 1-inch sensor on the front of the new DJI Mavic 2. As I look at the front here, it just has some basic info: Hasselblad 1-inch sensor, 4K 10-bit HDR video, omnidirectional sensing, 8K video transmission, 31 minutes of flight time. This thing looks like exactly what I think everybody wanted and everyone anticipated. DJI made a Mavic size drone with a 1-inch sensor. So let's get into it. And there it is. Holy camole. Let's start with the Mavic Pro 2. Let's take him out first, and there he is. Oh my gosh, that is beautiful. And size-wise, it feels just like the Mavic Pro. So if you already own the Mavic Pro, I mean, form, shape, everything looks identical. The texture of the body feels a little bit different, but the size feels almost as identical to the Mavic Pro. After I do the unboxing, I'll go into a little bit more details, and let me put these side by side with the Mavic Pro. But as you can see here, you take this out, it has a dome and a dome cover for your camera and camera protector. I'll see how that works as far as taking it off, but of course, pretty standard here. If you haven't flown one of these or haven't had experience with the Mavic Pro, fold out the arms there and fold out the bottom. And there is your Mavic Pro 2. So at first glance, of course, look at that sensor, look at the camera on the very front. Has the front sensors, it now has rear sensors, as you can see, side as well. And also on the top and on the bottom, there's a couple other things in the bottom that I'm gonna look up and see exactly what they are, but tons of cameras and sensors on the bottom, as you can see right here. So let me open up, take everything out first, and then we'll go into a little bit more detail. Next we have is the remote. The remote also has the same kind of a unique texture, so it's not the same texture as the Mavic Pro. It is a little bit different, and as you can see, it has some stickers on here. It does not come with the sticks. Size-wise, it does feel very, very similar. I will put those side by side with the original Mavic Pro remote to see if it's any different. First glance, what I can see here is there's a couple extra switches. So it says TPS on the side. So we'll see exactly what that is. I believe it is T is for tripod and S is for sport. So let me make sure of that once I open up everything and make sure that's what it is. But T and S doesn't have the sticks on it because of course you have the sticks here, which are underneath. It comes with your USB on the side here, plugged into your micro USB, and this one comes with a lightning cable. So lightning to micro USB for the remote. Of course, we have the sticks down below. Put those on real quick. And they have this really nice two-tone. This is a pretty cool colorway, as you can see here. It has like darker arms that come out, and then it has like the lighter gray on the inside. So nice two-tone remote, and has very familiar buttons. Has a return to home button. You have your joystick in the middle, and you also have your pause, power, and USB, full-size USB on the bottom. And then you of course have your C1 and C2s here, as well as your triggers on the top. But everything does feel like the same as the Mavic Pro. Like I mentioned, there's only one thing that's different, and it looks like it's a switch. Before it used to be a switch only for sport. Looks like they added one more in here. So I will go into more detail once I open up everything and read a little bit more about what the controller has that is new. Slide that out, and of course we have a charger. So we have the standard brick charger, and it has the charging cable, charging cords right here on the back. In this box we have a bunch of USB. So basically if you want to hook up a different smaller USB to the side here, they give you a bunch of different options in case you're using an Android phone or an iOS phone. Ooh, they have a USB-C to USB. Quick start guides. We have a bunch of bags which hold our propellers. The props do not come on this one like they did before. I think previously the Mavic Pro came with 2 extra props or 2 props that were already installed. So this one has no props installed, and we have to install those ourselves. Here's what comes in the box, just to give you a quick overview. Mavic 2 Pro version with the 1-inch sensor. The remote control has an area here for your sticks as well as for your phone. We have the brick charger cables, so extra cables. The quick start guide, a little bit more information, quick start guide, and what's in the box. We have your propellers. So that is what comes inside of this box. Now what I'll do is go into a little bit more detail, especially on the drone itself. Let me do some side-by-side comparisons and see exactly what some of these newer camera or sensing systems do. All right guys, so the first thing I want to do is kind of give you my first impressions of the DJI 2 Pro, and as you can see here, they're side by side with the original Mavic Pro Platinum. Size-wise, they are very, very similar. What I'm going to do right now is kind of go through some of the features on what I'm looking at on the Mavic 2 Pro that seem to be a little bit different than the original Mavic Platinum. As you can see here, as far as footprint goes, looking from the top down, you can see that the Mavic 2 Pro is just a little bit longer as far as the nose goes. So you can see here it is about, I'd say about 1/3 or 1/2 inch longer than the original Mavic Platinum. So let's go through some of the features of the Mavic 2 Pro, just kind of my first impressions and my first look at it. As you can see, there's some differences as far as the top goes, the battery and battery indicators. We have 4 dots here on the Platinum. They've incorporated the dots or the indicators within a ring right here around the power button. So as you can see, it's only 1 charge right now, 1 of 4. So when this is full, all 4 of these areas right here will be lit up. So they've incorporated these dots right here into this ring of the Mavic 2 Pro. The props look the same as far as the Platinums go. It's a little bit sharper on the Mavic 2 Pro than it is a little bit more round on the Platinum. So there is an update on the props. They are also a little bit longer than the original Platinum. I did swap them out just to see if they would work. They actually are interchangeable, but I haven't flown it yet, so there might be some flight differences. I recommend at this point swapping them out. I wouldn't see much of a difference if you were to add a smaller prop onto this Pro, so I definitely wouldn't be doing that. If anything, maybe you might be throwing the Mavic 2 Pro props on the Platinum. I'll test that out later to see how it goes. But there is a difference in height and a little bit of difference in shape right here at the tip of the propeller. On the Mavic 2 Pro, as you can see, there is a sensor right here, and that sensor is the upward infrared sensing system. So now they do have an upward sensor. The Platinum or the Mavic Pro did not have that, so that's a big difference now. Now you actually have sensors up, so if you're coming up and you're coming up on a ceiling, it'll also sense that the same way it does on the ground when you're coming too close to the ground. As we look at the back of the 2 drones, as you can see, there's definitely been an update with the Mavic 2 Pro. As you can see, there's 2 huge backward vision system sensors right there on the Mavic 2 Pro. You were not seeing that on the Platinum, so you were not able to avoid obstacles if you're going backwards. Now it looks like with these backup system, you're able to do that. One thing I see that's different a little bit is the light. There's no light here on the Pro 2. So there is a light on the Platinum. I'll see exactly where that one went. But as far as rear sensing goes, now you also have two backward vision system sensing sensors right here on the back. Right here, you can see right away we have 1, 2 sensors on the Platinum. We now have 1, 2, 3, 4 features here on the bottom of the Mavic 2 Pro. Right here, we have the 2 downward vision system sensors. And then right here, we also have this new downward infrared sensing system. So a lot of change happening at the bottom of the drone. Like I mentioned, the fill light, and now we also have an infrared sensing system here on the bottom. The biggest difference here is this thing right here, which they're calling the fill light. So it's actually a bright light that's right here on the bottom of the drone. I think that's going to be a huge key if you're flying it out, not necessarily just at night, but just even during the day if it's bright enough. That way you're able to still spot it in the sky. These things are of course very difficult to see once it's in the sky, so adding that bright light on the bottom of it, that way you're able to see the location of your drone. And now as you can see here on the side of the drone, we have this nice large lateral vision system sensor on the side. We didn't have that with the Platinum. We do now have it with the Mavic 2 Pro, and it is on both sides. So you can see the sensor right here, and then you can see the sensor right here on the other side. So now we are able to have sensors all around. We have a top one as far as infrared goes. We also have the side system right here, another infrared, as well as downward vision system here. And then of course we have the 2 front forward vision system sensors right here. With the Platinum, we only had the front 2 sensors and the bottom. Now you're able to at least feel a little bit more safe when you're doing some maneuvers if those sensors are on, for it to hopefully try to prevent any accidents happening, especially if you're doing the reverse one. Adding these back cameras here are going to be a really big one for those that like to fly backwards. Now, of course, what sets the Mavic 2 Pro apart is the sensor. Let's open up this dome right here, which protects and holds the camera in place and protects the gimbal. So just slides right out, has a little hinge right here for this little piece, and it just clips into the bottom right here of the bottom of the body right below the camera. And there it is, guys. Look at how massive this camera is in comparison. Let me actually show you in comparison of the 1/2 camera that the original Mavic Pro Platinum has. So there's the original Mavic Pro Platinum, and then now we have the new 1-inch sensor and camera on the new Mavic 2 Pro. The entire gimbal looks to have been redone. It looks a lot more simple and very much similar to how it looks on the Inspire 2 with the X4 camera, I believe. It looks very similar to that. So as you can see, it's all built in. You're not seeing as much stuff here as you did on the Platinum, where you would see a lot of the open area. You see a lot more cables, and the side of the gimbal here was exposed right here on the side. You're not seeing all that with the new gimbal. Everything looks to be enclosed. You're not seeing any ribbons like you used to. So you feel a lot more protected as far as the gimbal goes, that you're not gonna get any like debris or anything like that within those side motors or within a ribbon. Now with a larger sensor, of course, it is all about image quality. With a bigger sensor, you're able to capture a lot more light. And when you're able to do that, of course, you're gonna have a lot better of an image and also have a better dynamic range compared to some of the smaller sensors. Also on the very bottom of the drone, we have these 2 slots right here. Once you pull this little tab up on one side, you have the link button right here on the inside. So if you need to relink your drone back to your remote, you would be able to use that button there and link to your remote. And on the other side here, we have the area that is for your micro SD card. So if your memory, you want to expand your memory, you put it right here. You just pop this open, and then you can slide in your micro SD card right here on the side. All right, so now that we talked about the drone, let's talk a little bit about the remote control. Now, overall, the remote is pretty identical to all of the other ones as far as like the Mavic Air and of course the Mavic Pro. The Mavic Pro and the Mavic 2, of course, have the exact same screens up top. They both have the 5D channel joystick here, has a pause button, return to home, and on and off switch. So everything as far as the front of it is exactly the same. There's a couple, small differences. The vents on the back side right here are a little bit bigger on the Mavic 2, but button configuration is all the same. You have the photo record on both. You have the video record on both are here. And then of course on the back, we have the C1 and C2, and those are also in the same position. On the side we have, it's a little bit different. So on the Mavic Pro, we just had the ability to switch into sport mode right there. But now on the Mavic 2, you're able to go from GPS to sport mode into tripod mode. And this is actually a pretty big deal, and I'm really happy that DJI incorporated this into the remote. And I'll talk a little bit about that in one of my future videos. And the one thing I didn't really notice until I looked at the remote a little bit longer was they added notches right here, which is huge. I don't know if they're going to even talk about it that much, but I don't really think people realize how big of a deal this really is. There's a notch right here, which did not have on the Mavic Pro or even on the Mavic Air. Now this notch is I'm making it a big deal because I think it is such a big deal, is before when you would have your phone. So for instance, here's a Mavic Air remote. If I were to put my phone in here, you could not access easily the button. So if you wanted to, something was on your phone and you wanted to access it, it was almost impossible to get to that home button unless you pulled it out a little bit, and then of course you're loosening it up, or some people would even fly with it like this just so that they had access to that home button. But now they updated it, so once you slide this in here and you clamp it down, if your phone has a home button, there you go. You can actually access your home button. On the bottom of the remote, we have the same full-size USB port here. Of course, on the Mavic Pro, which is a little bit older of a model, you're not able to put your sticks in here, but on the Mavic Air as well as the Mavic 2, you are able to remove your sticks and put them on the inside right here. So there's the update for the remote control. Thanks again for watching, guys. This is the unboxing and first look at the DJI Mavic 2 Pro. Don't forget to subscribe. I have a bunch of videos coming out this week that all deal with the Mavic 2 Pro. So make sure you subscribe and hit that notification bell to be notified when I post new videos. I really appreciate you guys taking the time out. This is Aldrin Stasio with FlytPath.com. I'll see you in the next video. Take care.